Hello, beautiful people. Hello. Hello, hello, hello. Oh my goodness. Year three. Year three of this amazing, powerful summit and this community. Catherine, thank you. Thank you for bringing us all together and allowing us to share our wisdom, our codes, our light with more people. Thank you for this community. Oh, I love you, sister. Thank you guys for being here. And for those of you who don't know me, my name is Abigail Mensah Bonsu. Oh man, I am an embodiment mentor, goddess, coach. I am a healer, multidimensional healer. I am an activator. And I love my work. I love what I do with women and sometimes men, empowering them, helping them to build that inner fortitude spiritually so that they can experience it physically in their life. Hello, hello, my dear. Thank you for joining me. When you join me, go ahead and say hello. Hello, Catherine. Hello. Oh man, I'm excited to be here. So, every time I'm asked to do summit, I always like sit with a topic, and this came in very strong. The first time it came in with the archetypes, I was like, what, why do you want me to talk about that? There's so many other things I could talk about. And the more I sat with it, the wisdom that came through, and that's what I'm excited to share with you. So I want you to be open to receive whatever it is that is in there that will support you through your journey this year. So let me get my notes ready because I got a lot to share. Not a lot, but some juiciness to share with you. So how many of you are familiar with archetypes, the wisdom of the archetypes? How many of you have heard about it? How many of you have your archetypal wheel done? Let me know in the comments. So here's the thing. I want to start with this first. The universe doesn't give you what you want. It gives you who you are. The universe doesn't give you what you want. It gives you who you are. When you hear this, it makes sense why the most important string of words on our journey is knowing who you are. Is knowing. How is this connected? This year in numerology, 2021, is the 5-year. Not only that, we've stepped into the 5th dimension, 5-5. If you look at the codons in your DNA, which if you've done DNA activation, you're probably familiar with this. This year represents the 5th codon, which is about your archetypes, which is about knowing who you are. So this year is a great, the energy is so ripe for us to truly dive in and know every part of who we are. And what I love about these archetypes, and we all have 12 main archetypes. I'm not talking about, like knowing your goddess archetype, like the quizzes that we take. I'm talking about the soul archetypes, the makeup of you. 12 areas of ourselves, 12 pieces of ourselves that come together to create the fullness of who we are, the wholeness of who we are, the truth of who we are. We always say, know thyself. And perhaps we don't even know completely what that means, because we have so many masks and jackets, extra clothes that we wear, right? The programmings that society has given you, the titles, the like you should be this, all the things that we have to be, all the different suits that we have to wear just so that we can we can fit in, so that we can please, right? Whatever your reason is. But this year you're being asked to take off those extra. Who are you when you take off all the masks, all that society have asked you to be? Who are you when you're not wearing anything and it's just you? That is what you're being asked to fully embody this year. And of course, so much more, right? Because when you tap into the wisdom of yourself, you realize that you are infinite. This is where the other teachings come in. You're infinite, you're powerful. All that yummy stuff comes in. But it is time for you to know the wisdom of you. It is time for you to stop trying to figure out other people, who they are, what makes them amazing, and begin to focus on you. Who are you? What makes you unique? What makes you amazing? This year is ripe for you to do that. If you embrace this energy, you will get to know yourself like no other. From this point forward, you will be standing in that truth of who you are, so steady, so strong, that nothing can blow you away. So let's talk about the 12 archetypes. Let me break it down for you. So again, we all have 12 archetypes. Within the 12 archetypes, there are 4 survival archetypes. These archetypes, they're universal. So that means all of us share these archetypes. Where they fall in your life, now that differentiates among everyone else. But we all have these 4 survival archetypes, and they are the victim archetype, the saboteur, the prostitute, and the inner child. And I'll go into a little bit details when I'm done, but right now let's just break it down. So 4 universal survival archetypes that are focused on our needs. How do we survive? And then we have 2 lower selves or shadow archetypes. You know how you say, embrace, I embrace my light as I embrace my shadows. What are your shadows? Most likely, people focus, people are experiencing the branches, or probably even the leaves of what that true shadow is. You're getting like the results of, but they don't know the core of that shadow part of themselves. And again, when I say shadow, I'm not talking about evil. I'm talking about the part of yourself that allows you to curate, to mature, to get really nice, and what word am I looking for? It really builds your character. There we go. It challenges you so you can build your character, bring you strength. Like, these are powerful archetypes. So we have 2 shadow archetypes, 2 personality and programming archetypes. Knowing these archetypes, you know exactly where your programming stems from. Again, these archetypes are taking you to the root, to the core of everything that you've been experiencing on the outside, whether good or challenging. Takes you right to the core of things. So knowing these archetypes, you know exactly like, oh, okay, well, one of my shadow archetype is the rebel. I like to rebel. And in shadow, my rebellious nature just rebels against everything. But in light, the rebel makes sure that I'm always standing strong in myself. So we also have 2 life purpose or destiny archetypes. For those of you who are like, what am I here to do? Well, we have a map. We all came down here with a sacred map that tells you that, right? So we have 2 life purpose and destiny archetypes, and then 2 divine self or God self archetypes. This is you in your highest light. Let me go through it again. So in the 12 archetypes that we have, which is the 12 aspects of ourselves in all areas, right, of our lives, we have 4 universal survival archetypes, which are the victim, saboteur, prostitute, and inner child. 2 shadow or lower selves archetype. 2 personality or programming archetypes. 2 life purpose or destiny archetypes. And 2 divine self or God within archetypes. So what I really want to do, because the 4 survival, they're more universal, so I want to break that down a little bit so that we can kind of see what wisdom they're bringing in, because we all have that. We all have that, but the rest of them changes for every single person. So we don't all have the same lower self archetypes. We don't all have, that's where the uniqueness really comes through. But the universal part, that the 4, is like all of us go through that. Okay, so let's go ahead and dive more into that. Let me make sure that I have. There we go. Okay, so let's start with the victim. When the victim archetype really comes in to show you how you victimize yourself, how you have been victimized, whether unwillingly or willingly, whether consciously or unconsciously, right? And how you play victim in order to get things that you want. So that's the shadow part of it. When you allow the victim archetype to teach you its wisdom, what it's really teaching you is about freedom, the gift of freedom and self-esteem. So it makes sense, right? So when you're in that shadow part of and here's the thing, these archetypes, like you would notice, once you know that you have these archetypes, you will begin to see how they play in your life. Hello, Jen. Hello, everybody. Thank you for joining me. Hello, Larissa. Hello. Anne. Hello. Yay, my sisters. So once you know these archetypes, you will begin to see, oh, that's why I act that way. Oh, that's why this is coming up. You begin to see, trace it back to the root. Oh, this came up because, oh, guess what? I have a queen archetype. Ah, that makes a lot of sense. I have a healer archetype. Oh, okay. So going back to the victim, how do you victimize yourself in the shadow, right? When you are in the challenge area, when you are learning from this archetype, how do you victimize yourself? Where have you been victimized? How do you use the victim archetype to get what you want? How do you victimize other people, right? The gift of this archetype is about freedom and self-esteem. Really coming back to you, your core, your fortitude, knowing who you are, and operating from that place. So let's move on to the saboteur. I love the saboteur. The saboteur, of course, is about how do you sabotage yourself? How do you sabotage your success? How do you sabotage others? How do you sabotage all the blessings that wants to come to you? The part about the saboteur is that it brings in the energy of disempowerment. You do this because you don't feel empowered to receive the blessings that want to come to you. There's that energy. Hello, my dear. There's the energy of disempowerment here when the saboteur steps forward. Because here's the thing, when you work with this archetype, the gift that is bringing in is empowerment. Let me give you an example. The saboteur is in my first house, which means, and this was like, it like clicked so beautifully, after my archetypal wheel was created. When I was born dead. And throughout my life, the pattern that came through was that I didn't want to be here. I fought it. I mean, literally, I was walking around. My spirit was far away from my body. I didn't want to be here. I was still in my spirit body. And I was rejecting my physical body, my physical reality. And so when this came up in my first house, it made sense. The saboteur being in my first house, like, no, I don't want to be here. I was disempowered in my physical existence. And so what I did to turn the clock, to turn the wheel, to be empowered, is that I did something as simple as waking up in the morning and saying, I choose to be here. I choose to live. And that's exactly what I did. I choose to live not just any life, the best life ever. If I'm here, I might as well do that, right? That was like at the beginning. But even up till now, I choose to live because it's so important for me. The saboteur is in my first house. I can't mess with that. It's about, most people who have saboteur in their first house, most of them have experienced like either, they were born dead or, like just something where they're trying to escape. Like they die or they come back. Like it's so fascinating when the saboteur comes in your first house. The saboteur brings in the gift of empowerment, being empowered in your life. And I kind of see it as the fire that you need to boost you through life, through your physical existence. So let's move on to the prostitute. This is very interesting, the prostitute archetype, because it depends on where it shows on your chart or your wheel of life. If it shows up in the spiritual realm, it's all about embodiment. of your spiritual body. If it shows up in the physical realm on your chart, it's about embodiment and being fully human, fully in your body. So guess what the gift of this archetype is? It's about embodiment, spiritual and physical embodiment. This archetype, the lessons, the challenges that it brings in is, where do you sell yourself short? Hello, brother Richard. Hello. Where do you sell yourself short? Where do you literally sell your gifts for less? Let's talk about that. I mean, this is something that comes up a lot where, for example, you're not charging enough for the gifts that you have been given, that create powerful transformations in people's lives. That's the prostitute. You're not embodying the amazingness that you are. Depending on where it falls on your wheel, you might need to embody more of your spiritual self, your spiritual gifts and talent, really fully bringing it in. If it falls into your physical, it's about being here on this planet and all that you are, fully in your senses, embracing your physical body, your humanity, honoring it, loving it. You got to be fully present in this beautiful shell that we have here in order to experience all that life wants to give you. The prostitute really brings those teachings into mind, right? Into heart, I should say. The prostitute helps you understand the security, understand that security comes in trusting in what is of true value. I'm going to say that again. The prostitute helps you understand that security comes in trusting in what is of true value. Beautiful. So the last one, of course, inner child. Right? We've heard about the inner child. You got to work with your inner child. You got to, you have to heal your inner child. Did you know that? I mean, we all have the inner child. The inner child is not going anywhere. You will be 100 and still have an inner child. It is one of the foundations of who we are. That version of ourselves is very much still in control. If your inner child is not healed, guess what is going on in your life currently? The same patterns are still playing. So this archetype really highlights, there's two parts of the inner child here. There is I call it like the wounded inner child, which is everything that you went through when you were younger, playing in the now. But when you heal the inner child, when you bring the inner child back into balance, when you are conscious of your inner child, then you come into the light inner child, which is the true core of who you are, right? So for example, my shadow inner child is the abandoned child, and I'm going to say my light aspect of my inner child is the magical child. So I know that when I'm feeling abandoned, and it just is something that, whether someone said something or someone went somewhere and I wanted them to be close, however it shows up, but I know how to balance that part of myself is to tap into my magic. Literally, working with magical tools when I'm doing my rituals, when I'm creating, magical tools, when I'm working with herbs, when I'm cooking, really bringing in magic, when I'm saying invocations, when I'm connecting with the goddesses. Right? All of that helps that inner child come back to balance. That inner child wants to be its highest, best self, just as we want to be our highest and best self. In order for us to be able to do that easily, the inner child has to come on board. The inner child is so key. We cannot ignore our inner child anymore. We have to be walking with him or her all the time, making sure him or her is on board with us. Or you're going to be having some problems trying to be alignment. There's going to be a push and pull all the time, right? Now you understand why inner child work is so important, because it is part of our key, like the foundations of who we are. One of the 12 main archetypes, the 12 main areas of who we are. So So fascinating. I love this work. Like I was saying at the beginning, once you know your archetype, so at least now you know four out of the 12 archetypes, the 12 aspects of yourself that you are here to express, right? The other ones you find out by doing an archetypal wheel. So if that's something that you're interested in, if this is, you're like, this like feels really good to you, send me a message, because what I'm doing, I'm going to be given like an early, what do you call it? Like a, I don't know why the word is escaping me right now. Early bird, early bird pricing for just people in this summit who are part of this summit. And I'm planning to do this course again this year. In, let's see, March or May. We'll see what comes through. But if this is calling you, send me a message and we can get you all set with that. It is so potent, so powerful. Again, we're not talking about, these are not the type of archetypes that you're like, oh, you know what, this month my archetype is this, and you know, oh yeah, I'm the goddess of this. There's so many quizzes out there, but all these little archetypes that are showing up, they come from these foundational archetypes. And this is what I want you to take from this, is that these archetypes are showing you who you are on every level, what challenges you be facing, what your purpose is, who you are in your highest and best self, what your mission is, who you are in relationships. Like, and this is the other part, is that once you know the archetypes, now the next part of the process, that you see where these archetypes show up in your wheel, in the 12 houses. This is where astrology also comes in, right? So for example, if you have Saboteur in your, let's see, your house of relationship, is that seventh or sixth? You know, in the house of relationship, how do you constantly sabotage your relationships? This is where that sabotaging will show up the most, right? So you'll be able to be aware of that area of your life and bring balance there, right? And then there's so much magic that happens once you have your wheel, which is what I teach in the course. So if this feels good to you and you want to know all 12 aspects of yourself, not someone else's, this is you. You're getting to really know who the I am is, who you were born to be, right? Then send me a message and let me know. But at least now you have four of the archetypes that you know you have. Saboteur, victim, prostitute, inner child. The survival archetypes. We all have that because we all go through that. Hello, Catherine. Right? So important. So do you have any questions about these? What is coming up for you as you're hearing this? I mean, this is really the core of who am I? Instead of searching outside for who you are, it's about going within to discover. And I should say rediscover, because we just forgot. We just forgot who we are. We were born knowing who we are. I told my husband, I was like, with our little one, like I can't wait till he can actually, talk and, speak his story, because I'm just going to jot it all down in a journal. And then when he's old enough, maybe when he's going to college, I'll give him that journal so that he never forgets who he is. Children know who they are. It's when we start stepping into society and society starts telling us what we need to do, who we need to become, we forget. We forget. The beauty of the children coming in at this time is that their parents have been prepared. And if their parents, are not there, they have systems that will hold space for them. Will make sure that they remember always who they are. For us, we have powerful tools like this that can help you go back to the core truth of who you are. This year is supporting us to know who we really are. Because here's the thing. Again, the universe doesn't give you what you need. The universe gives you who you are. The beauty of this is that when you are operating from that place of who you are, when you really know you, when you're tapping into that center, that core, you magnetize to you everything that is in alignment, that will support you in your growth, that will help you expand and be more successful and connect deeply with others. And you align and magnetize to you exactly what you need in that process. There's no, trial and error, hit or miss. It's like, this is who I am, this is my center, and whatever comes to me supports that truth of who I am. If you're like, I don't even know what that life would look like, I don't even know what that would feel like, get ready. Get ready, because this is your opportunity to really dive in deep within yourself. The universe will begin to show you who you really are. And how do you know that what is coming through is who you are? It will feel like home to you. It will feel good. You'll be like, oh, for example, let's say you see someone drawing and you're like, oh God, I wish I could draw. Okay, let me start doodling. And you start playing with colors, and you're like, oh my gosh, I didn't know that I could do art. I didn't even know that I could create things like this. And you start exploring and expanding. You're remembering who you are, but it feels good. It feels good, and it'll feel like home to you. Like I was telling my husband, there was a story where I was doing something, but I told myself that, oh no, that's not me. That's not me, right? Oh, it was about baking. I would always say, oh, my husband's the one who bakes. Oh, my sister's the one who bakes. I just cook, right? And it was last year. I was like, I just want to bake. And I started baking. I was like, why did I stop? Why did I tell myself that I don't bake? I didn't even give myself the opportunity to try to bake. I just told myself that I don't bake. And I love to bake. I mean, it makes sense because I love to cook. But where did that lie come from? Where did that lie come from? That is what we are eliminating. So yours might start to be like that, where you start to identify these lies that we've been told or you've told yourself that has literally became your persona. We're going to let that go so that you can truly tap into the essence of who you truly are. So thank you guys for receiving this wisdom. Again, if you have any questions, send me a message. Come join my group. I'll put my information on there once I'm done with this, so you can find me very easily. But yeah, from my heart to yours. Again, Catherine, thank you for this beautiful container. Thank you for doing this summit again. I love, love, love being part of this magic. And from my heart to all of yours, until next time. Bye. Stay tuned for the next person coming. There's more yumminess coming. Bye, everyone.